Good afternoon, madam. Madam, 2 minutes. Students are joining.
Okay, no issue. Tell me when.
I'm in Bangalore. Don't worry, I'll handle everything.
Good afternoon, madam. Madam,
Good afternoon.
madam, we can start. I think almost 45 students have started.
Okay, we can start now. Okay.
One more request, madam. I have
Yeah.
muted all the students.
Okay.
I have not allowed them to unmute. If you want to speak to them, if you kindly tell me, I'll unmute them.
Okay.
Otherwise, not a student, no, they'll make a lot of noise.
Okay, no issues. Okay. So I will start because they're all joining in the waiting room. They are there. So you can just allow them. Okay. So good afternoon to all the students over here. So last two sessions, we were actually focusing on AI, artificial intelligence. By now, you almost have a basic idea what is artificial intelligence. So we can now start this week, the two session on cybersecurity. Okay. And the cybersecurity is what we are going to discuss in the next two sessions. So let's start with that. Again, this would be the basic introductory session. And after that, slowly from the next month onward, while you will be doing some online class, we will be basically moving to the little advanced one, because we are just talking about the normal basic introduction on the your cybersecurity and AI. Okay, so let's go now and start. Just give me a few seconds. Okay. Hope this particular session will be very, very interesting for you. When I was doing a lot of research and trying to come out with the content, I deliberately put up the content which is at the time basic in nature, but at the same time very, very important for you people to learn that what is the digital landscape of the cybersecurity. Okay, so let's start. Just give me a few seconds. I'm just going to share the screen with you all.
Yeah, it is visible, ma'am.
It's visible. Okay. So, students, today's session is very, very interesting. It's about the cybersecurity, the digital landscape of cybersecurity, that how the cybersecurity world is existing, what kind of threat we have. So, cybersecurity, students, all of you know that is a global concern. It's not an individual concern anymore. No longer it is discussed in the boardroom across the globe, but also for an individual user who are using, anybody who's using internet, whether it is for entertainment purpose or it is for education purpose, business purpose, all people have today a concern of privacy and security. So I will start today's session by asking you some questions. I know that you are being disabled, but then I will expect that those answers will be yes itself from your side. You can have a option to raise thumb and say whether you agree with that or not. So these questions what I'm asking is a very general, and you may laugh also on it that what ma'am is asking. These questions why I'm asking is that it will make you realize how dangerous and how less private is your internet life is. So we are basically starting with the individual threat what we face online. Okay, so we are going to start with that and then move toward the organizational point of view. Okay, so let me ask you, how many of you have email account? Yahoo, Gmail, Rediff, Hotmail? Almost all of you. Okay, so this is a very ridiculous question that I asked, that how many of you, each one of you have that. I'll say stop using them. Why? Because all these emails, which, like, for example, Gmail has 100 millions of users. Yahoo used to have 100 millions of users, just reduced now. So do you know that all these mails are basically saved in the server? For example, Gmail is saved in the Google server. And all these mails are scanned by Google for certain keywords. They don't individually look into your mail, but whenever you are sending a mail, your mail is scanned, and the mail is basically scanned and look for certain specific keyword to mark it or tag it as a suspicious mail. And what are those keywords? For example, if you use a word, kill Obama, in your email, immediately there is an alert and those mail will be tagged as a mail which is suspicious. A background check will be done on you to check if there is any link between you and the terrorism. If there is no link, you are scot free. You will not know about all these things. But so if you have a mail with any subject or any content of the mail which looks suspicious, it is being scanned by Google or by Yahoo server, by Hotmail or by Microsoft, by anybody. So that's one thing where your privacy is gone. Second question, how many of you use Google? Obviously, Google is used by everybody. Every day in our life, we might be using Google maybe minimum at average 6 to 7 times. So I again say stop using it, because Google is actually known to keep a track of each and every user searching habits. The word, each time when you connect to the Google, whatever keyword you are typing in the google.com, it gets recorded in a permanent database of Google with your name and at least along with your IP address. All of you are computer students, most of you, and most of you know what is IP address. So they record your name and IP address and record of each and every session on Google, whatever you are searching for. Then now the next question comes. How many of us use antivirus and feel safe? Again, I'll say stop using them. But why? The question comes, in the underground hacking community, I'm actually kind of an ethical hacker. I did a course on that, and I can do a little bit of hacking, but that's just for a hobby purpose. I'm not a professional in that. But when I meet some people, I'm fond of meeting them online in a community portal. And we discuss that there are a lot of people in that community who argue, who are ethical hackers working for big companies. They argue and they say that this antivirus company, like Norton or any antivirus company, they are known to create viruses. They are known to create worms. They release them on internet, infect your system, and then they know that you are obviously going to come to them to buy the countermeasure. Otherwise, where is their market? They have to create a demand. So they create a demand by creating a new virus for them, for you. There's no proof for that, but that's somewhere it is truth. And now the last question. How many of we use Microsoft Windows? Again, I say stop using them, because when you use Microsoft operating system or Windows operating system, you remember each time you get an error message on your MS Window package, there will be a small error dialog box which will ask you whether you wish to report that error to Microsoft or not. If you click no, nothing happens. But if you click yes, along with the error message, a complete list of your system configuration information get transferred to Microsoft and they save it. Now, one last question. How many of you use internet? Again, a foolish person will ask somebody that how you're going to, how many. Everybody use, but can I say stop it? No, I can't. Because see, you all know that whatever you do online, every digital moves of you is being watched, being recorded, and being logged on some server or the others. But obviously, it is not possible for us to stop using internet. That's why you remember in some of the movies, the police people say that if you have to catch a criminal, think like a criminal. You might have seen a lot of web series on serial killer and all, and you might have seen those CBI and those intelligent police people. They say that, we have to think like him, that what will be his next move. So that's why today's session, I will act little bit in the first half of the session like a criminal. And we will try to move into the mind of the criminal and think that if you are, whenever, the big leaders, they always say that if you have to beat a competitor, think like a competitor. Think like, how can I destroy this particular, my competitor business? So that's how you also have to think like a criminal to devise a solution. If you want to become a cybersecurity professional, you have to think that what can be the next move, or what can be the mind. You need to know the mind of the criminal. So that's why the first half of a few moment of the slide, this particular few slides will be focusing on what harm you can do as an individual. Now, most of the thing I show you today in this first few minutes is actually illegal, okay? But don't get alarmed. The idea is not to convert all of you into cyber criminal. But the whole idea is that you do not know how cyber criminal work today. And if you do not know how the cyber criminal work, you cannot protect yourself. Okay, so in today's session, I will share with you the first 10 most common cybersecurity threat and issue which I have personally heard from my friends who are working in this field. I have some of my friends who are in the cybersecurity, cells in Karnataka Police Division, in the ethical hackers in the companies. All these peoples are there. So, some couple of real-time life example I'm going to give you. First, let me start with a story of a girl in Mumbai. So it happened in 2019. There was a girl who shifted to Mumbai and she was looking for a job. She rented one room apartment. And in that one room apartment, she wished to actually, she had a no friend in Mumbai. So whatever free time she had, she was chatting with random guys online. Okay. And she was doing this online kind of a chatting, trying to create pass, kill her time. And one day she went for an interview in one of the company, and the company person who took the interview, he said, I'm going to really take you, for the job because I see you every day. And the girl was shocked. She said, no, but I have met you before. This is the first time I'm meeting you. Where did you see me? So he said, no, you're very popular on the pornography site. And she was really shocked. She went back and she obviously went to the cybercrime department. And unfortunately, she found that her computer was the people with whom she was chatting. Out of that, one of the person has secretly installed a spyware in her computer, which used to switch on the camera and record all whatever is happening in the room. And that was live telecast on pornography sites. And this is how, and obviously there was something called deepfakes. I'm going to make you, understand those things. So she was, ultimately nothing happened. They could not track the criminal. And this is what my first few slides are going to talk about. That you can do crime online and you can escape very easily. Nobody will catch you. So those are the few things which was happening. And she was obviously, very totally upset, and she has to leave the city and go back. So this is one of the real example which I came across when I was speaking to one of my friend in the department, cyber criminal department. Now, one more question. How many of you use Android phones? Almost most of you, either iPhones or Android. The Android phone, recently there was an article and I was doing research and I found that the Google tracked the location of every single user globally through Android, if it is an Android, obviously it's an Android. So in fact, the Google launched the website where you can log on and see all the location information the Google has been recording for you. So they store your minute by minute location information. So isn't it invading your privacy? If you know about it, or if you have put up a setting where you don't want location to be shared, most of the app ask you this question. Do you want this app is going to, use your location? Do you allow once or do you allow always when the app is used? And we always want to use it and we just do it. But how do we know that Google, Android, anything, whatever you are doing, everything is recorded. So you can just go to the Google tracking website, location analysis or activity monitoring website, and you can just check. You can put up a date, 2 years back date, and you can find out your location, where you were. So this is again used by police also, and they surrender all the data to NSA and the CBI and all to determine, because whenever the police want some location, they basically track your location through your mobile phone. So the location history is something which is affecting our privacy. Worldwide, even sometimes the people say iPhone is better, but then iPhone also have a way to store your location, but they don't share it. That's the only difference. Now, let's move to a second part. And the second part is that how can you do a crime online and remain anonymous. That nobody can track you who has done it. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to give you a wrong idea, but then you should know this, that these are so easily available, these tools, that anybody can do anything and get away with that. So it is so easy to do it. So how can we be completely anonymous on internet? And so how do we do it? Let's look into some of the solution. I think most of you know about this. This is my favorite software called Tor. So Tor is a browser you can download free of cost from internet. The Tor browser is generally considered very safe and secure, okay, because it had something called onion, routing protocol, which encrypts all your data and hide your IP address. So Tor is best for those who want to. Actually, Tor was meant for this. When it was made, it was meant basically to create or transmit sensitive information over a private. So people sometimes say, yeah, no, Tor and VPN, there's a confusion. There's a difference between Tor and VPN. VPN, virtual private network, is usually more effective solution for everybody who use, basically the VPN is used by the companies during the Corona time when the people are working from home. So they use VPN. Okay. So VPN has basically a tunnel to. Okay, can you hear me, all of you? Okay, fine. So VPN has a tunnel, and this tunnel basically allow encrypted transmission of the data, and it keep your IP address also hidden, and the VPN can establish a secure communication, and the connection speed, convenience, privacy, and all. But Tor is basically as a browser which not only encrypt your communication data, but also there are many criminals who are using Tor because they don't want police to track you. How does a police track a criminal? The police track a criminal by tracking your IP address of your computer. So the Tor browser hide your IP address, and even you, what you can do is you can just go, and on the Tor you can just go and say change the identity by clicking on new identity. As soon as you do a new identity, your IP address is masked. It hide your identity. It also is used for going to the sites which are blocked by your country. Like for example, India has blocked Orkut. So through VPN or maybe through Tor, which is a little more dangerous, you can just go ahead and you can anonymously and nobody can track you. So this is one example. All of you must have seen the movie, the series, Netflix series called Jamtara. Today, the Tor VPN is becoming a very, very popular and familiar concept among the teenagers. So you can see in Jamtara, a small village, no people not so literate or digitally literate. They knew the use of VPN and they were doing all this so that the police can't track them. So they were using the VPN to do the phishing call. I'm going to come to the phishing also. There was also in 2014 one app which was called Ola, not the company, but it's Ola. And that app came at that time when Netflix and all these things were, I think it was in 2012, sorry. In Netflix and all these had not come to India. So people, if you wanted to access Netflix or any American TV show for free, you can download this app which will get installed in your Google Chrome browser. And it will also again change your identity, the IP address, and also your location. It will hide your location hide. So because from your IP address, you can find out the location. It will do that, and it will basically make you access those blocked or non-accessible site free of cost. Next thing which I wanted to tell is the, okay, somebody is saying something. Okay. So just a minute. Okay, so Shamli is saying that criminals are using darknet. Yeah, I'm going to talk about dark web in the next session. The dark web is something which you people should know about it. There is a lot of illegal activities which are happening. Yes, correct. What you said is correct, Shamil. So now the next threat, what we have is, I'm going to literally show you. I can't demonstrate because I'm using Mac. And in Mac, these are certain restrictions to use all these. But I will tell you, if you want, you can write a name and try yourself. Okay. So when we are talking about something called email spoofing, email spoofing attack is something which anybody can do now today. What is this? This is a technique which is used where you can send mail to anybody from anybody else's email ID. That means what? For example, I want to do a prank on my friend. I will send my friend email ID a letter or a job offer from Bill Gates. I will say from Bill Gates email ID to my friend email ID. And the email will look exactly same that it has come. And the funny part is when the friend reply to that mail, the mail will reach to Bill Gates. So that's called email spoofing. When the sender name is the sender, you can change the sender name and all these things, and you can send these kinds of things. So there is a site which I will put it in the chat box if you want. You all can try this. This is a very popular site, and the site is called. I will show you later that site also, and that site I'm going to put it in the chat box. You can try sometime. Yes, this is social engineering. Just a minute. Okay. So the site is called mki.cz. So in mki.cz, what happens? You can just go and you can just send email. I'll just show you. I'm just going to the site. So all of you can see that? See now? So this is the site. You can see that I can write the name of any people over here, and I can send it to anybody, any message. And once I send it, is now not allowed in my Gmail over here from Mac. It has some restriction, but you can try it on your own. And you can say, so there's a lot of sites like that. I'm just giving you a few which I know. And you can send email. So that's called email spoofing. Okay. Now let's move to the other part. Give me a second. So similarly, like we say email spoofing, we have one more term which is called SMS spoofing. Okay. And SMS spoofing is something where you can actually go ahead and you can send SMS to anybody from anybody's mobile. So there's a site for that also. Okay. So I told you about all these things. So it's not like that these things are there and these are there's no solution for this. There's a lot of solution also, which we'll be talking later on, okay, about that. So mobile phones spying or spoofing is also one of the major things apart from email spoofing. So again, there is a site which is called smsgang.com. So you can write down smsgnggang.com. You can go to this particular site and the site will look like this, where you can write the mobile number of anybody to anybody, and you can type the message. The only problem is this is not free. They will ask you for some money in form of something, depending on the country and all. So this was actually used like a prank, but today it has become a criminal. Imagine, suppose your parents gets an SMS from you, and they get a message from you saying that transfer immediately this much. I'm not able to contact you. Transfer money on this particular account, and you really feel that They need it and you send it. And there's a lot of cases like that. So this is the something. The next thing is the free corporate gift. Sometime when we get a free corporate gift, we are basically very thrilled. Like, for example, your company has given you iPhone, but you never know that in that iPhone, they might have installed some bug or some spyware to understand that what you are doing, what is your location, whom you are sending messages and all. So I still remember that we had one session for parents on the Women's Day, and I was supposed to address them. And I thought what session I will take, and I thought I will take a session which is a pain for all mothers. And that is that, how do I know what my child is doing on the mobile? Because the child is going to put all the locks. Each one of you have a lot of privacy when it comes to your parents. You don't want your parents to know what you're doing. But at the same time, you also know that what you're doing is known to everybody, even though you delete the history, but you can't delete your footprint, digital footprint from the servers of the company. So what is happening is the mothers were very keen. So I thought I will going to do that. And I told about few software, and I said that these softwares can be installed, but it has to be installed on the person's phone. So when certain time, some client deliberately give you a phone gift, and in that they install that particular thing and hide the icon. So you don't know that there is an app which is existing, and this is going to spy and give the detail of all your activities on your phone. Okay. Then next thing is about secure communication. There are app like Weaker, which I'm flashing on the slide, Telegram, Red Phone. It is just like WhatsApp, but these are private messengers. Difference is that they use something called military grade encryption. See, in 2018, when in 2020, when WhatsApp came up with a warning saying that your messages, the privacy, clause, you have to agree to that your messages and all these things can be used for targeting, for marketing purpose. Everybody panicked. Elon Musk came on tweet, and he started saying that, download Telegram. Everybody went here and there, removed WhatsApp and downloaded Telegram. But my question is always that WhatsApp was doing all these things from long time. Why do you think the Facebook has bought WhatsApp? The Facebook has bought WhatsApp just for the reason that they could get all the data, but they're not doing any harm to you. What they're doing is they are basically trying to use your data to do the target marketing for you. And that's all. So Weaker, Telegram, Red Phone, all these are where you have to pay. WhatsApp is free. You can pay and you can have a very secure communication. If you want your communication not to be hacked or not to be seen by the one which I said, some bug which can be installed and some spyware on your phone, you can use that, because what happens, the sender can use an OTP to authenticate the person who's receiving the message. So most of the corporate people or the people who are VIPs and all who are passing some kind of a sensitive information, they use this kind of a messenger. The next very important thing is called the phishing attack. So there is, again, I'm going to put this particular site for you. I want all of you to go through this, and this is called HTML5 full screen API attack. It's called HTML5 full screen attack. So what happens in this case is that you can just a minute. I'll just show you this site. This is a phishing site. And phishing is basically creating a fake clone of the original site, especially for bank it happens. So you will see a site which is actually not a bank site. It's a clone site of the bank meant for purpose of stealing your financial information to, steal money from you. So you can see here. So this is one of the fake site. So I can just go to Bank of America phishing site. If you can see here, this is a site which exactly look like the original bank online banking site. They have just taken a replica to educate you, but this is just an image file over here. But in the phishing site, you will get you will be getting a mail from a company, from a bank, asking you and making you, panic on certain things and asking you to log in with your ID. As soon as you log in, they have the keyboard logger or some software which through which they basically track all your user ID and password and siphon out the money. So this is one example of phishing. Okay. Just a minute. So phishing is very, very common. We have different kinds of phishing, which is, there's one more new term in the phishing, which we say, nowadays as what you called smishing. Smishing is the, which you have seen in the Jamtara. That is called calling and, phishing and taking your information. So that is also something which is there. Just let me go to the phishing part. Okay. So again, you have something called tab napping. What is tab napping? Tab napping is very, very common. We all have a habit of opening multiple browser on our screen. And all of us do because we have very less attention span and we need multiple tabs to open and work simultaneously. You will have a music tab, you have one more tab. So many tabs we move. But do you know that how much threat it poses to you and what kind of security risk you have? When you are actually moving back and forth between tabs, it is very important to know that there is a security threat which is caused, where tab napping is a kind of a simple JavaScript code which is very easily installed on your browser, so that whenever you change to a tab and the tab which is inactive for a long time, that will basically get changed. For example, if you see here, if they see that the tab is not active, the tab napping immediately change that, and mistakenly, accidentally, you reach to that site and it basically try to track your location and try to get all your information. So this is one thing. The next very important thing about the threat which is posed online is cyber terrorism. Cyber terrorism is a threat to us from the terrorists or from the people, not exactly the terrorists who attack us with bomb and all. I'm talking about those people who are attacking you online. Either they are trolling you, they are harassing, they are threatening you, or they are trying to hack your detail and misuse and plan something, and you are fixed in that. So those kinds of cyber terrorism happens. Let me tell you, when one of the seminar which I was attending, and one of the celebrity ethical hacker, his name is Ankit Walia, who was taking a seminar, and he was also a person who was, he's a young boy like you, and he was also involved in one of the tracking of Osama bin Laden. And at that time, he told about he said that terrorists who were involved in 9/11 attack, they are the people who are tech savvy people. They have invented a lot of cyber criminal crime tools. One of the crime tool which they have invented is called steganography. Steganography, if you remember, this is an old way when the kingdoms were existing. The kings used to send the secret messages to messengers in the form of codes or pictures. And these pictures only the sender will send to receiver will understand. Similarly, steganography, what they will do is the terrorists know that if they send mail through any server to their people who are, or they want to communicate over internet, they know that everything is tracked, everything is monitored by the legal department. So what they used to do is they used to send a kind of, using a steganography, they will send a picture of a celebrity. And this picture will look just like an innocent picture, nothing there. You can't do anything, it's just a picture. But behind the picture, what they will do is they will hide a text. And the text will be like, for example, this is a picture. And nobody can actually extract or decode this picture until and unless you are using the same steganography tool. what that person has used to send you. So when you receive this picture, you can just go and extract the file and read whatever message is encrypted in that. This is the tool which they have, come out with. Students, if you want, you can also try out. So Al-Qaeda has invented steganography. You can go to and try out something which is called S-tool. So S-tool is S for, Sunday, S-tool. That is a site from where you can download the S-tool, and you can get a, app like this where you can add a picture, you can hide a message in that, and you can send. And to the person who you are sending should use the same software. If he use the same software, if he doesn't have that software, he can't see anything. He can't see the hidden message. So that's called steganography. Now, let's look into the cybersecurity threat landscape. I was talking about the personal threat which we paused. Now let's look at the organizational perspective, that how organizations are facing problems. So modern cyber attacks are evolving. How technology advancing, cyber attacks are also advancing. Internet of Things devices, deep fake, that never used to exist. I'm going to talk about that in my sessions. Today I will cover deep fake and tell you what is deep fake. Next session I'll talk about how IoT devices are basically, the attack happens on that. So there's an emerging threat that we cannot ignore. So cyber crime people are basically working day and night to combat with the new evolving cyber kind of attack. The old attacks already you find solution for that. So the cyber criminals are one step ahead. That's why I told the first part of the session that you have to think like a cyber criminal and then come out that what next they are going to do. And whatever they come out with, because they know that whatever they have been practicing, that is already, there will be a kind of a security tool which will be developed to protect people from that particular attack. So they come out with a new technology. So these are unpredictable change which required organization to frequently survey and monitor these kinds of threat landscapes and strengthen their cybersecurity. So based on this threat, your organization may need to invest in new technology and implement new security content. So some of the threat is like malware and ransomware. We'll talk about that today. So what is malware? Malware has many characteristics of malware. I'm going to give you a quiz also, students. I'll give you a link. You can just try and answer some questions, because those are the link which are, even when you write some, for example, you want to be a part of the defense or a particular company ethical hacking team or cybersecurity team, then you have to go through those written tests. So some sites I will give you, you can go and do those tests and check yourself. So malware is a serious security threat, both for the individual as well as for the organization since 1980. And there's one more threat which we call as ransomware. Ransomware is from the last decade that has evolved. It has the same characteristic of malware, but the objective is different. So when we are talking about the malware is actually any kind of a software. Again, these are all software. And the developers of the software are making these. So the software which is designed to gain unauthorized access to computer or a network equipment with the goal of causing damage or extracting information. And also why this damage is done for financial gain, making money from the attackers. So malware can take many forms. It can be a virus. Why virus? Because virus has a characteristic of multiplying itself. One virus come to a computer, it can multiply and become several. And then worms will have an ability to kill or eat up your information, damage your files. Then Trojans are there, Trojan horses, rootkits, adwares, and spyware. These are some kind of a common malware which is happening. There is a new one which has come now, and it's called cryptojacking. You all know about the mining cryptocurrency, right? Bitcoins and all. So now the new kind of malware has come, and the infection of this malware or the objective is to, harm the cryptocurrency transactions. Now, when we are talking about this, there are two main ways that the system can become infected with malwares. The first is system vulnerability. These are the flaws in your hardware and software that also malware get installed and function. So if there is a flaw in your hardware and software, the malware get installed very easily. So usually the operating system get updated with patches. Even Microsoft operating system has patch. So patches exist and keep on updating to fix this vulnerability. But users and organization don't always use this patch in timely manner. For example, like I'm using Mac. So I have always the iOS update available. But because when I update the iOS, it takes some several hours for my computer and my computer will remain inactive. So I don't do it. So we basically try to, procrastinate things. So that's where the things happen that the criminals take advantage of that and your system becomes exposed to this threat. The old vulnerability is also, so old vulnerability get targeted by malware attack. In 2020, Microsoft vulnerability first identified back in 2012 is included in top 10. Why? What I'm trying to tell you is that Microsoft operating system is continuously updating the patch, and they ask you to install. So if you have a original Microsoft operating system installed, not the pirated one, then you can update those security patches which they identify and try to make your system less vulnerable to these attacks. Okay. So the second most common way that system get infected with malware is user falling prey to social engineering. Now somebody was talking about social engineering. This happened when an attack. Social engineering means stealing your identity or masking their own identity. So this happens when an attacker successfully convinces you to download an infected software, and it can be from an email attachment or it can be from a particular what you call app, or maybe you have gone to a website and there it will ask you to install some kind of extension on your browser. So be aware of that. Or it can be infected disk and drive. So system need to be vulnerable to the malware that user introduce to all these kinds of threats. So let's look at now the ransomware. Now, when we are talking, so these are what the ways at which the attackers can convince the user to download your the infected file to infect your system with malware. Next is very, very important today. Almost not only the big companies but almost all SMEs in India as well from the last 5 years is getting infected. In fact, when I was teaching in one of my classes, and one of the students said, "Ma'am, I have a business and even my business got infected by ransomware, and we could not retrieve, even though we paid in Bitcoins, but we could not retrieve our data." So what is ransomware? Ransomware means it's a form of a malware only, but it has a special purpose. What it does, it encrypts the data and file on the infected computer, and it sends a warning on to your computer asking you to give you money in certain time period. If you see, this is how the information comes, where they say that your file is encrypted. So all your file become, you will see all your file, but it will become encrypted. When you open, it will look like special symbol. You can't read it. It is non-readable. And there will be a timers which they are going to put. They also tell you that where you can recover their file and how you can pay them. So they abduct your computer and all the data and information on your computer for a ransom, and you have to pay in Bitcoins. And it's very difficult to locate who is doing that attack. The companies, one of the biggest ransomware attack happened with Sony, the Sony Entertainment Limited in US in 2013 December, when the company employees, all of them got a message on their board, on their screen, that your computer is attacked by a ransomware, and we are not going to, this is a link where you can find all the information which we have, and we will tell you soon. Now, what has happened is they didn't have any option. The people who have done this told them later that there was a movie which Sony was releasing called The Interview. Maybe you people might have seen it. And The Interview is a movie about two journalists trying to assassinate North Korea, Jim Con, the leader. And they said that we don't want you to release this movie in theater. And that is a condition. But then at that time, the US government came and they said that we are very powerful. We can't bend down in front of these attackers. And they released the movie. And they also thought that it is the North Korea which is behind this attack. And actually, they released all the unreleased movie, all the data of the employee, their salary, their social security number on the public site. The company could not do anything. And North Korea came up with a kind of a message saying that we have not done this, but we are happy that this has happened. So this is ransomware. The ransomware is meant for stealing your file, or not stealing your file, but basically abducting your file, encrypting your file, and locking your system with a kind of a code so that they release this information only when you are pressurized to pay something in bitcoins, which goes in account, which is non-trackable. Okay, so this is what is called the extortion. So ransomware can be very lucrative income for attackers. In 2020, the FBI Internet Crime Complaint said that around 2,474 US company was infected by ransomware complaint, and the victim has actually paid more than $29.1 billion. And these are all small size, big size companies. So these attacks are not only in America, this is happening in India also. Okay. So the actual number of these worldwide attacks where the money with the ransomware is becoming very high. So ransomware can use any kind of a technique. It can be a fake urgent mail. How does it come to your computer? It can be through a fake urgent mail with a malicious link, an attachment designed to trick user to click on a link or open the attachment. This can be a phishing attack also. So in due course of time, the huge ransomware demand in the future is going to keep on increasing. And there is no way you can track those people. It is hardly few, only cases were tracked by them. Otherwise, so your system is becoming very, very vulnerable. So Acer company also faced the ransomware attack. This was a news few days back. Now, how do you protect your system or your computer from malware and ransomware? Okay, so when we are talking about these, so a successful malware and ransomware attack, which is very, very threatening for individual and organization, you can take some few simple steps. The first step, I will tell you 5 methods. The first is take frequent backup. Because malware and ransomware will encrypt your file and you may end up losing your data, or you have to pay money to get your data back. So the best thing is take a frequent backup. If your system is being compromised by malware and ransomware and you have lost access to some of the data, you can keep, and you have already kept a frequent data backup, the impact is not so devastating. You can always restore from the backup data and those files which are uninfected. So most of the companies have a practice of taking a backup on somebody else's servers, maybe the cloud server of AWS, Microsoft. They're hiring that which also give you better security. So backing up your data is is one of the method to safeguard yourself. The second method is apply security update and patches. So malware and ransomware can only work on the system which is vulnerable to the attack. Just now I told you that you can reduce, if you're not updating the operating system patches, security patches, then the new malware and ransomware which are introduced will not be tracked by these antivirus or these protective tools. So the exposure to malware and ransomware attack can be reduced if you keep on updating security update and package. Upgrade to the latest operating system version. This is a third method. Why? Because the update security latest operating system version, whether it is a server operating system version, always come up with the update on all these threats. Today, even Windows operating system has firewall, which can protect your individual computer also. So if you've been putting up a lot of investment in terms of money, try to update your operating system current version so that your system become less vulnerable to these things, because they have new patches, security patches. The current operating systems are designed to be more secure than the previous version. The fourth method is install firewall. Firewall is a kind of a software or a hardware tool which act as a guard. It's like a security guard to your building, which basically monitor all the incoming and outgoing traffic on your server. And if it finds any incoming or outgoing traffic to be suspicious, it stops them. So it is basically a watch guard or security guard. So firewall are designed to prevent unauthorized traffic into your system. So many kind of malware try to exploit your system by directly connecting you with some kind of a network which is not very secure. So this malware get installed. So if you have a firewall, the firewall will protect your hardware and software and block this malicious traffic through. Finally, the last one is install anti-malware software. There are a lot of antivirus, anti-malware, and McAfee and Norton is available. Network security or single system security is available. No matter how much you try to protect your network and system, malware can still be introduced even by you accidentally in your computer, and you become a victim of social engineering. So it is very important that you install anti-malware system software on all the systems in your organization, and you keep on updating the malware signatures. These are some security control against the malware and ransomware. The next is phishing and smishing. So phishing and smishing is again a social engineering attack that try to trick a user in sharing sensitive personal information like a username, your password, your credit card detail with the attacker. Just the Damtara, series talk about phishing. It was talking about smishing, not phishing. So let's look at those threats that how does it work. So phishing is there around from 1990s, and it is becoming stronger and it is evolving. IBM security experts reported that phishing was the top method of compromise in 2021. And the most common phishing technique is to send a fraudulent email to a target. So you'll get a mail from, let's say, you are an account holder of HDFC. You'll get a mail which exactly look genuine mail from HDFC. There is no way you can doubt on that mail. And this mail is designed to look like as if it has come from the trusted company. And it will appear very urgent. So the recipient will try to quickly open it. Typically, the email will contain a manipulated link, okay, which will take you or redirect you to a fake or clone website, but the website will be looking just like a real website. So if the user click the link, it goes to a forged website, which looks exactly the clone of the real website. And once there, the target will usually be prompted to enter the username and password for the site. If they do that, the attacker will now have the credential for the real sites. And depending on the site, this can turn into immediate loss of information and money for the victim. In some cases, the phishing email won't have a link. It will have a malicious attachment. Okay. And if the recipient click on the attachment, it will often attempt to install a ransomware, which is another threat, which I already covered. So one of the key to successful phishing attack is making the email look like that they come from the trusted source. So I just told you about one of the site just now in the first few minutes of the session that you can send from mkey.z. The phishing attacker actually co-op trusted brand like Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon. So phishing emails will always, these are the thing. They will always have a typical email subject line to build your trust. That, for example, your account will be logged, important, please log into your account to verify your info, or invoice due. So they sound very urgent, at least important enough so that you can't ignore it. There is something else which we call spear phishing. Spear phishing is a variety of phishing that customize email attack to specific user. hoping the illusion of familiarity. For example, the mail will come from a trusted source. It will come from your CEO of the company. It will come from the person whom you know and whom you trust. So that's called spear phishing. The next one I was telling about Jamtara thing, which is called smishing, which is the same characteristic. The only thing is it is not email. The attackers send SMS text to the victim. So common smishing text messages often come up with some kind of an urgent message from a bank. It will say your account is logged due to suspicious activity. There is a recent payment issue. Your bank need your confirmation. They will send you a link. And that link, when you click, it goes to a malicious site, just designed to steal your online banking credential. So you go and you put in your login ID and password. So smishing scam can also include a text message about, winning a prize. Most of you might have got it sometime in your life, and you have to redeem through a website. So you will go there because thinking that I've got this and it is real, and you put everything. They track your IP address. They've installed some kind of a spyware, and if you have stored your important information in your computer, it will store all those information from there and try to misuse that. So another form of smishing. So this is very, very dangerous, right? So another form of phishing also include, a kind of a threat that which I saw. I will show you the case study, that a mail comes from the CEO of the office. And the mail comes, I'll just show you an example of that. Okay. The mail comes, they will send you a mail from the CEO. It will come from the CEO of the office or the boss, and it asks you to do some task, like send some money to the supplier immediately, and some kind of a fund to a particular number or account, and they will give you some code and make it look like it has come directly, and the number and all, everybody will be same. So it's a trusted one, and you immediately send, and later on realize that it is a phishing attack. So this is one. Now, how do you protect yourself from phishing and smishing? So while phishing may be a very dangerous cybersecurity threat in the landscape, but let's look into the 5-step what we can do to reduce the exposure. The first is implement email filtering control in your organization. Every organization use some kind of, even Gmail has, but still it is not so relevant because Gmail use AI. I will have told you already. So implement email filtering control at a user level, at an organizational level. Since phishing uses the malicious email, better you get them blocking and protect yourself and your organization. User can control email at their inbox by flagging unwanted, suspicious mail as spam or junk. And organization at their level also can block suspicious email at the email server itself by blacklisting those malicious email servers which are sending these kinds of attachment, even blocking the email from the entire country sometime. Like sometime back, it was North Korea, and it was from even China also. Or domain, or maybe IP address range. They will identify that from this IP address, from this domain, from this country, from this server, this is coming, and they block it. So this is at an organization level. So many email servers have designed additional control design in the organization, and this is where you people, those who are aiming to become cyber, security professionals, come into pictures. You can block the malicious email. The next way to protect your phishing is to block access to the fraudulent and malicious website. Students, let me tell you that all the organizations restrict certain website which a particular employee cannot go. I'm not talking about the job website and all, but they also identify certain sites which are flagged as the malicious website, and they block. So you cannot access that. At the user level also you can do. So it can be done at a user level by accessing the web browser, and also sometimes certain browser like Chrome has that ability, where it tell you that this particular site is not, is little suspicious. It's not genuine. You are not trusted. and you still want to continue. So the modern browsers have these security setting, and you can also go ahead and configure that. Also, organization can install firewall and proxy servers that prevent user from accessing any bad website. The third steps you can take is use password manager. This is a very digital safe and can generate almost, I don't know how many of you, if you don't have DigiLocker, please do the first thing in the few days is open a DigiLocker. Digital India, one of the steps which I like the most is Digital Locker. Digital Locker, you can safeguard all your important documents. Okay, so if you're not using it, please use it. So third step is password manager. This is a digital safe which can generate strong, unique password. Don't use the password generators which are commonly used like 12345 or name with birthdays. All these are very easy to guess. So what you do is these password managers, they allow the system to generate. You can't use your own password. They generate the password for you. And you can't store your password because as soon as you store password in the browser or you ask the browser to remember you, they are storing your password in cookies in your computer. You all know what is cookies. These are temporary files which contain all the information about your site you have visited. So cookies store these. And anybody can easily get that. So they also make sure the organization also have a password policy where they ask you to change your password after every particular period of time. And they don't allow you to use the same password. So the unique password is generated automatically by the password manager in the companies, and it doesn't get compromised in the phishing attacks. The fourth protection is multi-factor authentication. This is a very stronger form. You know that when you go to e-commerce and when you're on the payment page, they do authentication to authenticate you. You have a login ID and password to access your Amazon account, but as soon as you are paying, there is a bank page which comes, which is a browser. And on that, there is a one-step or two-factor authentication where you have to enter an OTP which comes to your mobile. So the password is not only the only way or a very secure way to protect yourself. One of the important measures what companies are doing nowadays is biometric factors. Actually, in Europe, there are certain countries in the ATM also, they have biometric measure where instead of putting a PIN number with your card and for withdrawing money from ATM, you can just put your thumb and authenticate yourself and then withdraw the money. So biometric measures can be used, OTP can be used. All these two-factor authentication is a good security method. The last one is basically to have a good security training. So the good security training means that if your user know how to, you give a user a knowledge about how to spot phishing mail, how to not to click on the manipulated links. So the users can be taught how to recognize phishing attack. You can also teach them how to understand which are the fake sites and how do you identify the genuine site and which site can be trusted. When it comes to phishing, the best way to protect against the threat is again the security training, like how the bank and all these people keep on telling you and train you, send you messages saying that don't share your password even with the bank personal, don't share your OTP, don't share your CVV number. Even with, sometime it is also said that, don't share your CVV number and OTP with your wife or husband. Okay, maybe in girlfriend and boyfriend for you. So don't do that. So that is the one which has happened. So the text messages which comes to you when you're doing purchases, the OTP which comes to you on your phone, every time you get a message and training. So the organization also train you. They do phishing drill. So make sure that all the people know about these kinds of threats and how to recognize and spot and protect themselves from that. So there are so many things which the organizations are doing nowadays. They keep on sending messages and all. The next kind of a threat which we as students going to understand from organizational point of view is business email compromise, BEC threat. The business email compromise is again a cyber crime which can cost organization to lose a lot of money. Many organizations has done that when they fall victim to this. So this BEC attack is very, very dangerous. BEC attack usually start with a criminal hacking into your email account and using them to pretend to be like you. So they hack your identity and they use your identity and your email to send mail to a trusted people. So the criminal will use this hacked email account to impersonate you. It can be a top level executive, it can be a financial team, it can be even supplier also. Now their goal is to trick employee into making large payment using this and changing the payment and sending the fund to the scammers. Okay. So the most common way the email accounts are hacked is through phishing attack. So BEC criminals are going after specific email account, which is considered spear phishing. Like they basically target the people who have power of sending funds. So the BEC attackers basically combine phishing, social engineering, and financial fraud to pull the scams. It is likely, BEC attackers basically what they do is they also use a technology which is called deep fake audio generated by artificial intelligence. I'll cover this in this session to make, so deep fake videos, they are doing it. BEC criminals are also trying to spoof the email. So email header is forged to look like that it has come from trusted resource. It look legitimate. While the method of faking email senders, so you get variations of name. For example, it can be for the false invoice scam. It can be for payroll diversion, tricking HR to change and send the salary to some other banking information saying that the employee requests that my banking detail has changed, and the fraudulent account, CO fraud, tricking CO message, trick the finance team to send a emergency fund transfer to the CO, which is in the fraudulent account. Gift card scam, tricking the victim to buy a gift card for staff or client and send the serial number of the card to the attacker. Then home buyers fraud, tricking home buyers into transferring funds to a fraudulent account. So these BEC may not be the most common security threat, but according to FBI, the losses in US alone to BEC scam in 2021 were nearly contributing to $2.4 billion, right? And it has increased by 30% from the previous years. Okay. Now, how do you protect yourself? Now, in order to protect yourself from the BEC attack, firstly, just like phishing, you can protect against BEC by implementing email filtering, just like what I told you. So you can have an email filtering on your email servers, which can prevent email attack, to trick a controller. You can just drop it there itself. BEC attackers will also use some kind of a spoofing, email spoofing from a legitimate domain to trick you. So some kind of a email configuring the protocol like SPF, DKIM, DMARC, reduce the spoofing you can use. DKIM is used for rejecting mail, where the displayed domain name does not match the domain of the originating email server. That's a trick. Mike Chappell also gave an overview about some protocol you can mention in his CompTI cyber security course. You can do that course from Mike Chappell. He's a very famous cyber security professional. Then you can enable, you can do one thing which can disable the multiple factor, don't disable that multiple factor authentication which I told you. User security, you can have two-factor authentication or more than two-factor authentication. Train user about the attack, that what kind of attack can be there. You can train them on that. Conduct awareness, security awareness training with your employees. Make them realize how to spot non-trustable domain. Teach them how to confirm financial transaction before doing anything. Confirm physically or maybe verify that and then do the transfer. All these kinds of things you can just make them aware of that. You can mark external emails, help them on to basically warn the email which are spoofed. You can make the user identify the subject line All those kinds of things you can do that. So if you are a victim of a BEC scam, always you should report it to the financial institution as well as a cybercrime department. In US, it can be FBI. In India, it can be cybersecurity cell. The cybersecurity cell is there. Now, the next kind of thing which I want to discuss in today's is the threat of botnets and DDoS attack. Botnet is just like you see in the picture. It's like a robot from the sci-fi movie which you see normally. But botnets and DDoS attack is like a robot attack, but it's little different. Botnet is a collection of computers or internet of thing, IoT, which is infected by malware. And these botnets, when they come to your computer, what they do is they take a remote control of your system or your servers. So what happens, because so many systems, and it doesn't happen with one, it actually attacks the network of systems. So all the network in the systems are going to come under the control of an attacker. So botnet can become a very serious force. It can multiply. It can cause, it can compromise your system, and botnet can convert all the computer in that network like zombies, because they are not in your control. They are in the control of some external third party. And once compromised, botnet can be used for many type of cyber attack, including distributed, DDoS attack, denial of service attack, spam, phishing campaign, spreading malware, other kind of a cyber attack like cryptojacking or crypto mining. So the term botnet and DDoS attack are basically related, okay, but not the same. What are the botnet? Botnets are small robotic networking, computer, the software, which try to control certain computer in the same network. And DDoS attacks is the denial of service on particular site, which I'm going to discuss. So DDoS attack, what it does is basically try to attempt to make one particular site non-functional. For example, many times you people have seen that as soon as your result is out, 12th, 10th result is out, you find out that from your friend. You immediately, all of you want to log on to your result site, but after few people logged on, some people, the system crash and it says the service unavailable or servers not responding. What happens is, that's a genuine problem. That's not an attack. What happens, every server has a capacity to handle a certain number of requests coming to them. When the number of requests becomes more, it gets pressurized and it stops working, it freezes. That's called denial of service. It doesn't respond to anyone. But DDoS is an intentional attack. It happened in India with Deccan Airways. When Deccan Airways started the online airline ticketing services, the many competitors did a DDoS attack. So whenever the customer is booking a ticket, and as soon as he goes to payment, it stopped. Because what they did, they used the servers, proxy servers, to send several thousand requests to the server. And the server got that request, and these requests they were not able to fulfill the request, and it jammed. It stopped working for genuine request also. So that's called denial of services. So DDoS attack can be done by botnets. So when botnets start controlling certain computers, what they do is, from those computers in the network, they start sending requests to one server, like say Gmail. And many millions, anyway, Gmail will not, but sometime back, most of the time, the Gmail also have been affected by DDoS. So Gmail service was not available because the botnet controlled certain system in the network and tried sending so many requests from all these computers at the same time to Gmail server. And Gmail server could not handle all those requests and stopped working. It was not available for services. People were not able to access their email. So that's called denial of service. That means overwhelming with the traffic, right? So these botnets become zombie, okay? And they basically try to send requests to a server and control and do a DDoS attack. So these botnets flood, as I said, using several computers in the network with the target website with a thousands and millions of requests per second. So this traffic flood will disrupt and completely block the service of a target website. And it can last for hours, a week, a day, and can it do. So in DDoS attack in 2021 lasted in one of the cases in 776 hours, which is more than a full month. So DDoS attacks are sometimes even used for extortion. Sometimes it is the attacker behind the botnet will send an email to the organization and threatening to launch a DDoS attack if the ransom is not paid. And if they don't get the ransom, they will actually ramp up the DDoS attack, put pressure on you to pay the money, because your servers will become jammed. It will be flooded with so much of traffic that it will not work for the genuine customer and lose your customers. So because botnets are so common, they can use. So that's the reason why these people, the syndicate of criminals, are making lot of money by doing this kind of a DDoS attack. Okay. So this is how they make. Now, what is the protection? How do you do that? So these are the distributed denial of service. As I said, that these robots are controlling all these computers or nodes in the network. You can cover or you can protect your website or online application from DDoS attack with the steps. The first, you should have either a firewall or a web application firewall. Different kinds of firewalls are there. You might be studying when you are doing with your offline trainer. That one application firewall is which protects your application on a server from unauthorized access. So it stops the traffic there. In short, in front of your website. So it doesn't, the traffic doesn't go to the server. So unless it is, so if it finds it suspicious, it doesn't go there. So that can be done. So firewall and web application firewall can be used to detect and block this unwanted and abnormal traffic. They can also be used to control the traffic that reaches your application. So firewall and web application firewall can still be overtaken by DDoS attack. So second way is you can protect against DDoS is by using load balancers. Remember, certain e-commerce companies have days called Big Billion Day sales like Amazon and Flipkart. So during that time, the traffic on their site are double than the normal day. It can be 3 times, 4 times because maximum people are coming to get the benefit from the sale. So what these companies do, because so many people coming and requesting the traffic, the server will not be able to handle. So they use load balancers, right? So the load balancer is a concept in the content delivery network. The load balancer can share the traffic load across the server in different locations. So what it does, it disperses the different traffic and hold it and send it in sequence. So immediately your server is not flooded with requests. So load balancer balances the traffic on your server. The third method is using a DDoS defense system. The service provider, there are a lot of cybersecurity professionals who are basically hired to specialize in protecting organization by making these kinds of DDoS defense mechanism. So Cloudflare, for instance, is one of the example. They can observe the DDoS traffic and route only they can identify the legitimate traffic and send only that to your web server. So you can have a good network monitoring system, which will give a warning about the attack to you, that there is an attack like this, which is going to happen. And so you will have a response team, which can respond to these DDoS attack, write down the procedure, and you can take a precaution before it happens. So you can hire, most of the company basically hire a third party to conduct a DDoS test. These parties are cyber security professionals, specialists. They basically try to understand and predict if there is a DDoS attack. They do the load test. They another kind of a simulation test. They identify the system configuration. They also can help in identifying the network bottleneck, poor instant response. So many things they do. And they also identify the botnets on a network. And basically, they try to help by creating an effective malware to protect against this. And your next thing is monitor your system process, conduct a DDoS test. thing is that you can investigate most of the time your CPU, memory. You can sign your system for security practices, install anti-malware. You can monitor your process continuously by a cybersecurity professionals who can just try to find out a loophole in your application, loop on your server, and try to identify and give you that. So every software application program, before it is made, before it is published, they do a test or they ask the ethical hackers to basically find out the loopholes to come out with the solution to protect that. So you can host that. You can also go for, again, a good enterprises practice by making sure that all your users or employees are using strong password. There's a strong password policy to keep your software and firmware application updated with new patches, security patches. You have anti-spam, anti-filtering in your email servers. You have web filtering or firewall to save your application program. And also you conduct regular security application, security awareness training for your. So all these steps are just like arming or defending against your thing. Let me see. So 10 minutes more, then I will just. Okay. So let's see. The last topic of today is deep fake. Very interesting topic. This kind of a threat has existed. So this is something in the movie you might have seen, where deepfake is actually created using an AI-based, artificial-based software to mimic not only the faces of someone to look exactly like the original person, or also to mimic the voices. Outside of Hollywood, criminals are actually starting to use deepfake to make social engineering cyber attack very convincing. Deepfake voice attack is being reported where one of the company CEO has actually has become a victim of this kind of a fraud. So the clone voice trick employee in making a large payment. So you get a call from somebody, from your CEO, and the voice and the sound look exactly the same because they use AI to do that. Okay, they use the AI to create the same kind of a voice of a person. So attack can be used to compromise your even email compromise. BC attack also uses this. In the BC attack also you can come, for example, the CEO is sending a finance department a request to process urgent payment for an important business transaction. And then you say, okay, fine, let me confirm because you are aware of mail spoofing. So what you do is you make a phone call to a CEO, but somebody who has that particular access will direct your call to a particular AI-based application, and you get a deep fake audio of your CEO voice. And they confirm, yes, I am only sending this mail, and you have to send the transaction immediately according to what is instructed in the mail. So this combination is very persuasive. So deep fake audio basically is becoming very, very common and very popular nowadays. So how do you protect yourself from deep fake? It is very hard to detect, firstly, because AI technology is improving day by day, and you can't make out where you're talking to an actual person or a deep fake person. So the first thing, what you can do is you can train a user about deep fake technology and make them aware that something like this is happening. So they should be trained how to spot deep fake audios and videos, including natural speech. Some software are available, or low quality audio or video, digital artifact, noise in the audio and video, unnatural movement in the videos, unnatural blinking, the body language of the person. All these can be done. The lightning and skin tone of the person, poor lip syncing. I'll show you how it works. The next is users should be trained on deepfake can sometimes have a common, so this is what I told you. We'll have a common red flag. For example, the red flag is you can become alert when somebody is sounding urgent. There's a sense of urgency. So social engineering attack always have a psychology to create an urgency in you. They often want you to act quickly without thinking. That's where you panic and do it without thinking. So if someone you know contacts you and they want you to do something like transfer a lot of money in a hurry, you should immediately be on guard. And another social engineering red flag is unusual behavior. So deep fake technology may be very good. It is very perfect. The attacker might have entirely cloned the voice of an actual person. And the usual attack. So what happens is the user should be trained to verify any phone call requesting for financial transaction or payment through this method. The best way is to verify request is to ask the person who made the request to do face to face if it is a call, but not always, because in the face also they can do that, right? So for example, your CEO is calling and requesting for a financial transaction. The person receiving the call should call the CEO back immediately on the listed phone number, or maybe on the official phone number, and try to confirm whether the call is being redirected from some servers or something like that. So they can do that. So finance department can verify and authorize before doing all these. These kinds of training help the company to ensure and authorize the financial transaction and help themselves from that. So some case study I will tell you. In the Wall Street Journal, I was reading one article, the UK-based one company. There was a phone call from a boss, and the chief executive of the firm, it's a German company, was asked to, the CEO called the employee, the financial, the CFO, and asked him to transfer 2020, euros, 2020 euro, 2,20,000 euros to a bank account in Hungarian supplier. And he said it is urgent. The voice belonged to actually a fraudster who was using AI technology to spoof the German chief executive voice. And it was an insurance company. And he explained that the CEO, but the problem was because this person was trained, he could actually make out, and he called back, he used his brain, immediately got alert, and he called the CEO, because CEO was not available when he was calling him back. He called the CEO department, secretary who was traveling with him, and asked to confirm that with the CEO, and found that it was a fraudulent. So little kind of alert is necessary. Let's see.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time.
Jordan Peele created this fake video of President Obama to demonstrate how easy it is to put words in someone else's mouth.
Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet.
Not everyone bought it, but the technology behind such frauds is rapidly improving, even as worries increase about their potential for harm. This is your Bloomberg Quick Take on deepfakes. Deepfakes, or realistic-looking fake videos and audio, gained popularity as a means of adding famous actresses into porn scenes. Despite bans on major websites, they remain easy to make and find. They're named for the deep learning artificial intelligence algorithms that make them possible. Input real audio or video of a specific person, the more the better, and the software tries to recognize patterns in speech and movement. Introduce a new element like someone else's face or voice, and a deepfake is born.
It's actually extremely easy to make one of these things. There were just some supposed, breakthroughs from academic researchers who work with this particular kind of machine learning in the past few weeks, which would drastically reduce the amount of video you need to actually create.
Programs like FakeApp, the most popular and widely available for making deep fakes, need dozens of hours of human assistance to create a video that looks like this rather than this. In August, researchers at Carnegie Mellon revealed software that accurately rendered not just facial features, but changing weather patterns and flowers in bloom. This advance is not yet available to the public, but with increasing capability comes increasing concern.
This is kind of fake news on steroids, potentially. We do not know of a case yet where someone has tried to use this to perpetrate a kind of fraud or an information warfare campaign, or for that matter, to really damage someone's reputation. But it's the danger that everyone is really afraid of.
In a world where fakes are easy to create, authenticity also becomes easier to deny. People caught doing genuinely objectionable things could claim evidence against them is bogus. Fake videos can also be difficult to detect, though researchers around the world and at the US Department of Defense have said they're working on ways to counter them. Deep fakes do, however, have some positive uses. Take Cereproc, a firm that creates digital voices for people who lose theirs from disease.
Speech synthesis is the artificial production of human speech.
There are also applications that could be considered either good or bad, like the many, many deepfakes that exist solely to turn as many movies as possible into Nicolas Cage movies.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Okay. So we stop here. Any questions if you have, students, you can write in the chat box. Yes, the parental control option is something, Shamil, which can be always known by the students have become, or the children have become so intelligent. So those are all outdated method nowadays. Just, you can easily go and change that. Using Tor is, in certain system, like if I want to download in Mac, I have to do something to do it. Otherwise, it is strict control. Tor is safe, but I will say if you want to use it for, hiding your IP address, or maybe for a genuine purpose, use VPN instead of Tor. Yes, any more questions? No more questions? Okay, so next session, we will be talking about the threat from the insider, job, and some case studies I will be discussing. So same cybersecurity, some more threats, some case studies we will be looking into. Okay. Okay, then Harinakshi ma'am, I'm going to wind up the session. If they have any query, they can post it to you. You can just post it to me. I can answer them. So have a nice weekend. Have a nice day. We will meet you on Sunday again. And in case if the students want a particular kind of session, I'm always open to that. You can always, the faculty who are there, or maybe the students can talk among themselves. And in beforehand, you can just send me the request that we want a session on this. So maybe I can prepare myself on that, and I can, take the session on that. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.